Kageyama's voice grew smaller as Hinata dropped his phone. Fresh blood dripped onto the cracked screen. Hinata grasped onto his hips, desperately, struggling to catch another breath. The tangerine trembled as he glanced upwards, noticing a masked man with a kitchen knife in his hand. You Asians should disappear, it's your fault that the virus started, you abominable species don't belong on Earth. Hey everybody, it's Hedwig here, back with yet another video. I feel like this video is kinda bad compared to the others, but that's okay, right? Let's start off with a few disclaimers. First, I do not support underage drinking. Hinata is a college student, so he can drink. Second, I'm Asian. I'm qualified to write this and I am not intending on any hate. Third, I don't know why so many of my vids have Boden surgery scenes. Yes, it took a lot of research. Lastly, this video has no ships or poly relationships. Now that we're done here, let's get on with the video. Hinata strided through the streets of LA, watching the city lights gloom over him. The tangerine had stayed at school till 10, constantly practicing volleyball. As soon as he entered his dark room, he slumped onto his bed, absent-minded enough to disregard his roommate's call. Hinata. Hinata looked up to his umber-brown friend, admiring the contrast of his pure white hair to his dark skin. You forgot to take the trash out again. Hinata rubbed his eyes and sighed, dawdling all the way across the room. The trash bags restlessly emitted a putrid odor as Hinata dragged them out the door. Xavier sighed. That's why you shouldn't overdo it. You're always fatigued. I know, Hinata yawned. I should go to bed. Xavier rolled his eyes. Hinata would always say this, just to stay up another 5 hours studying videos of his upcoming opponents. You'd better keep your word this time. Hinata blinked. He hadn't slept a wink last night, for he was preoccupied with tasks. Xavier had been generous enough to hand him a can of Red Bull, which was successfully keeping him awake. Hinata continuously spiked the ball over the net, paying attention to the coach's instructions. Coach complimented the tangerine's monstrous growth speed, which had come from the countless hours put into practice. His teammates' murmurs filled the gym, clear jealousy revealing itself in its tones. As Hinata walked out of the gym, he bumped into the libero of the team, John, holding the hands of a small child by his side. The tangerine tripped on the asphalt road, scraping his knees. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. It's fine. Hinata smiled. Who's this? Hinata glanced at the small boy standing near John. He was blatantly staring at the tangerine, in a somewhat uncomfortable way, but Hinata decided to brush it off. Oh, he's my little brother Joe. Joe, this is Hinata, my teammate. Say hi. Why? Joe frowned, stomping his feet. Joe, what's with your attitude? It's fine, he doesn't need to greet me. Hinata brought his hand to Joe's fluffy gold hair, petting him. Don't touch me, Joe. John turned to Hinata. I'm so sorry, he's normally not like this, I'll make sure to speak with him afterwards, but I didn't do anything wrong. I just wanted to protect you from the virus. You little brat, you're coming with me. John violently dragged Joe across the parking lot and behind a car, where a screaming match rung through the night. Hinata brushed the dirt off his bloody knees and stared at the source of the sound, a fiery anger in his eyes. Hinata took a deep breath to suppress his anger. He shouldn't be affected by such child's play, he should focus on his career, volleyball. The tangerine silently walked away, tricking himself into dismissing such trivial matters. Today was a special occasion. It was the rare day in which Hinata left his dorm and went to the convenience store to drink. The tangerine chugged a can of beer and slammed the cup on the table. He could already feel the blood rushing to his head and the beads of sweat forming on his skin. As Hinata inched closer to his limit, he decided to stop drinking. Hinata then walked outdoors, trying to walk home without wobbling. He felt his phone ringing in his pocket. It was a call from Kageyama. Hella. Kageez. Yeah. Why are you slurring your words like that? I'm not slurring my words. Kageyama let out a half laugh, half sigh. How much did you drink today? 3 cans. That's a lot, you know. NWO. I'm a strong man. I guess, if you say so, haha, about where are you right now? I'm passing the big house on the side of the road. What do you know about my house? You're in Japan. Am I though? But you're in Japan. Well, I may or may not have come to visit you. Kageyama's voice grew smaller as Hinata dropped his phone. Fresh blood dripped onto the cracked screen. Hinata grasped onto his hips, desperately, struggling to catch another breath. The tangerine trembled as he glanced upwards, noticing a masked man with a kitchen knife in his hand. You Asians should disappear, it's your fault that the virus started, you abominable species don't belong on Earth, Hinata gasped as a piercing pain spread through his abdominal area. His legs began to wobble as he slumped onto the floor. Blood gushed out of his injury and onto the floor. Kageyama started to worryingly question the unresponsive Hinata through the phone. Soon, the blueberry came running out of Hinata's room, which he was hiding in, to find a bloody tangerine in the middle of the road. Putting aside his rage, Kageyama called the ambulance. All he could do was clasp his hands together and pray that his dear friend would be fine. It's a blunt trauma injury. Looking at the shape of the wound, it must be a knife stab. We will perform diagnostic laparoscopy to detect the patient's condition. Surgical knife. The intern handed Botan a knife. Botan carefully performed an incision around the abdominal area, observing the insides of his body with a camera-like device. Ah, a liver laceration. Botan pulled on his gloves. Let's begin. Kageyama raced to the hospital. The emergency staff had informed him of the dire situation, so the blueberry had no choice but to come. He dashed to the front desk. Do you know where Hinata Shoyo is? Kageyama and Xavier glanced at each other for a short instant, then went back to inquiry. Where? Mary, the lady at the front desk, started fumbling with a pile of records, looking for Hinata's information. He's in room 401. Both boys abruptly thanked Mary and quickly entered the elevator. It was only then they noticed the anomaly. How did the other know of Hinata? It was Xavier who broke the ice. How do you know Hinata? I was his classmate in high school. I'm his colleague and roommate. Ding, interrupted the boys' conversation, a sign that the elevator had reached its destination. In the room, Hinata was placidly sleeping, after withstanding a lengthy adventure in the operating room. The impatience and anxiousness from the boys' expressions immediately eased as soon as they spotted the tangerine, resting serenely in his bed. The conversation between the boys started to recommence. So, you said you were Hinata's classmate, huh? Kageyama glanced surprisedly at Xavier, seemingly forgetting the boy was present. Yup. We were on the same team. Oh, well, how was he back then? Hinata was a good player and a good friend. The best anybody like me could ask for. Anybody like you. I guess I was sort of traumatized back then, I mean, typical high school stress, right? Xavier nodded. And Hinata was the best companion I could have asked for. He was bright and always cheered me on. He was also the main reason why I recovered from my trauma. Yup. How's he now? Suffering. He's overworking himself to his limits. He can't even get on a single day without a can of Red Bull or some other stupid energizer. That's probably why he couldn't even fight back. Xavier's face started to grow red. That goddamn criminal. How dare he hurt someone just cause? Hinata rose from his bed slowly, cupping his hands over Xavier's. Calm down, Xavier. Xavier jerked his head up, noticing the tangerine. Hinata. Both boys' faces lit up as they grabbed each of the tangerine's hands. You guys overreact too much. I'm here now, aren't I? Take out the trash. Alright. Hinata sprung out of his bed. He had seemingly recovered his energy, thanks to the plentiful rest at the hospital. His decaying health was steadily recovering as well. It was mostly thanks to Xavier, since he was always by Hinata's side to assist him throughout his journey. Kageyama as well, although he was across the globe from the tangerine. The blueberry always checked in with the tangerine, in order to inspect whether or not he was developing healthy habits. Not only had they helped him recover his health, they were also the first to report the incident to the police, who had succeeded in arresting the perpetrator. Hinata smiled. What would he have done, without his two friends?